So Niecy Nash has recently spoke out about an incident that happened with her son. Now, Niecy Nash, she's an actress. She's been in a lot of movies. She definitely has been in comedies. You follow her career, you hear her voice, you know her face. Most people know who she is by now. But she was giving an interview speaking about an incident that happened with her son. Now, everyone has definitely been paying attention to what happened to our brother George Floyd. A lot of people are taking a stand for justice with that. They had a big protest out there in Los Angeles. And if you had seen that drone footage, I mean, it was a lot of people. Where Niecy Nash has a son, his name is Dominic, and he's in his late 20s. So she was already dealing with a difficult time dealing with the situation with George Floyd, because when you have, mothers out there that have sons, of course, they worry about their young black sons, because if you leave the house, you may not see him again. You got to think about George Floyd. He left the house just to go to the store, and he never came back. And that's happened to a lot of brothers in this country. And just because Niecy Nash is known and she's out there doesn't mean that her children or even her can't be targeted by the police. That's why I tell people, never get so brand new in America thinking that you high and mighty and they won't come at you like that. Whether you don't have no money or you well known, it could happen. So let's talk about what she was talking about her son. So she was saying that her son was harassed by police. OK, so she was saying that her son was driving and he did what you call a rolling stop, which a rolling stop is, you get to the stop sign, you don't completely stop the car. You kind of slow it down, maybe to 1 mile an hour, if anything. And then you keep going. OK, well, you get a ticket for that. Fine. OK, that's not even an issue. Many people have done it. But when the cop had pulled her son Dominic over, OK, he said he was bothered about the kind of car that he was driving. So she said that when my son got stopped, he said, leaving my house last Sunday, he said they pulled a taser on him for a rolling stop. He said, then proceeded to question him and ask him, you have a T-Mobile shirt on. He said, do you work there? Because if you do, how did you afford this car? Because it's a 2020. So here we go with that mess. A young brother can't have a certain type of car. It's going to be a problem. Now, this happened in the Los Angeles area. Now, we know a lot of brothers are profiled heavily in that area, but they should be used to seeing people with cars, because that's LA. And there are people, actresses, sports players, whatever else is out there. How do you know who he was, right? Just because he had a T-Mobile shirt on. So she said that they didn't know if he was a manager. He said they didn't know if he was an owner. They said they didn't know if he had a rich mama. She said, but what they probably felt like was, how did this young black boy get a car that I don't even have? And that's what it is. Because you have to understand something. There is a particular narrative in a racist mind. As long as they see us poor and destitute and don't have anything, they feel good about themselves. OK, the moment that we do good for ourselves, or we have some parents that did very well and we reaping the benefits of what our parents labor, they don't like to see that. Because I tell people this, white supremacy is predicated off of our condition. So the lower we are, the better they feel. The higher we go, the worse they feel about themselves. So they got to try to bring us down. They cannot stand us doing it. And you have to understand, we as black men and women in America, we are sabotaged. We're set back. We have everything going against us for the most part. They've even, tried to destroy our family, destroy just our friendships with each other, a lot of self-hate in our communities. We have all these different things happen to us, school to prison pipeline, everything they could throw at us with the kitchen sink. And then we still rise above that and make something of ourselves. Of course, a person who's racist is going to have an issue with that. And you have to understand, a lot of those police are race soldiers. They're not police. They are KKK with a badge. The KKK took off the hoods and put on the police badge. And that's what happened to that young brother that day, right? So she says that they was mad about the car and they was hoping to make him suffer for the car, because them police are broke. They don't make a lot of money like that. Now, when they get up to the point of detective and all them high ranks, okay, then they start making money. But them cops riding around, they don't make no money like that. But the only reason they want their jobs is because they want to be able to get away with beating people and even murdering people with this immunity. This is why they talk about the immunity right now, trying to get rid of that. So they didn't say, Niecy Nash didn't say what kind of car it was. But the LAPD had responded to what she was saying, and said they didn't receive information about the incident, so they don't know the location or unable to ascertain if it occurred in their jurisdiction. Right? It said now she feels that advice won't protect him, as it didn't protect George Floyd. It said, who died in May. Of course, we know what happened with his situation with the knee to the neck. She said that I'm trying to figure out what to tell my own son. So I used to say, well, if you comply, you'll get home. And if there's something wrong that happened, we'll, deal with it later. You say, but now you said we watched a murder on national TV with George Floyd. And she says, I don't know because he complied, right? He said he was in handcuffs. He was on the ground with his hands behind his back. So I don't even know that people are calling me asking me to tell them something. And I'm trying to figure out what to tell mine. She said she's been posting about the protests on her Instagram page, definitely liking photos. She said she also donated $10,000 to George Floyd's funeral. She said she also been talking about the ongoing protest, responding to people who said that she should mirror the peaceful marches that Martin Luther King Jr. organized during the Civil Rights Movement. She said the people are saying be peaceful, said stay at peace with a question mark, right? He said that was all Martin Luther King stood on. He was murdered anyway. That's true. She said, stay peaceful in a country has only taught you that you get what you want by uprising. She said, see, America is only America, it said, and belongs to white people because they stole it from the Indians, and they stole black people from Africa and forced us into service for 400 years. It said, and then have the audacity to look at us and say, well, what can we do to fix it? Yes, exactly. That's why I'm a firm believer of don't look at black people and ask them, what can we do to fix racism? Because we didn't create racism. Your ancestors did. You figure it out. I always say that. Don't ever ask me what we can do. You know what I'm saying? I think it's very disturbing and upsetting to be asking the victim how to fix the problem. Could you imagine going to rape victims and saying, hey, how do we fix, the problem with people like to rape people? How do we fix that? Like, why would you go do that? But that's what they do to black people all the time. So trust me, we're not immune. As definitely. And listen, my thing is, I know some of you live in California, and shout out to all of you who live in California. I've been out there. I don't like the climate. I don't like the environment. It's not enough of us out there, to make me feel comfortable. The politics of California is not conducive to people that look like me. Trust me, they don't get down with people that look like me in California enough. I seen it. I always say you would probably do better being in a Houston, like where I'm at, or in Atlanta, or, maybe, somewhere that's a pretty thriving population, for us. Maybe you do better in Charlotte. That's another area. Missouri City here, Texas is another one. What is it called? DeSoto. I mean, certain areas, I think we have a little bit more, we can lessen our chances. I say you escape everything, but you can lessen your chances of dealing with certain things. But I hate that happened to her son. And like I said, her son could have been a George Floyd, because how many times have they harassed brothers just because of a car? It's so stupid. A car. I mean, you could lease a car. You know what I'm saying? You could lease a Benz. You could lease whatever else and don't pay much on it if you got good credit. But this is what we have to deal with as, brothers. And as I say, every day that we walk around, they talk about Black Lives Matter. It's because at any moment, our life can get taken away from us. You don't have Brad and Becky worrying about, oh my God, the police stopped me because I'm in a S class. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm in a BMW 700 series. Oh my God, the police pulled me over. I'm worried about. They don't have to worry about that. They're gonna say, oh well, his dad must be a this, or her mom must be that. That's okay for them to ride around in a 700 series BMW at 1920. They're not gonna question them like where they get it from. Oh well, she got the McDonald's shirt on, or she has a Target shirt on, or he's working at freaking Academy and he's driving a Mercedes. Where did he get that from? They're not gonna question them. But when it comes to us, they question us. And this is why, like I said, for me, and I don't get into this conversation too much on this channel, but relating to Niecy Nash, I'll say to Niecy Nash, you got the money, get you another property outside the U.S., preferably the continent of Africa. That's what I recommend. That way, at least you can take off or you feel like it, not deal with those issues and problems. And trust me, with money like she has, she can do a whole lot over there. and she can live a good life and not worried about those people like that. And in whatever car they're driving here, they drive it over there. Nobody's going to harass you. That's what I always say. But if you don't want to do that, I always say, come to Houston, go to Atlanta, go Charlotte. There's a lot of places like that where we have a good amount of our, population, and we don't have some of the problems that maybe you would have in LA, especially right now. Not to say that brothers don't be checking people out there in LA, but them police out there, like I said, they move a certain way. But leave me a comment, let me know what you think about the situation with Niecy Nash and her son. Like I said, never think that any of us could not engage and deal with the police. You can do everything right. You're going to have no criminal record. Like Philando Castile, they have no criminal record. And you still could be killed by these police. That's why it is very dangerous for black people in this nation.